amazing.
No, y'all consider them as a bad season because of the pressure y'all fans put on them. That's not from us.
Because you know, that's, I mean, when you get to this point, we done got to a point in Ohio where it's either championship. We don't play for Big Ten championships no more. We play for national championships. We feel like we among the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Clemsons. I told you the teams that won multiple. When I told you the teams that got since 2000, there's only 6 teams with multiple championships. That's Alabama with 6, LSU with 3, Clemson with 2, Ohio State with 2, USC with 2, and USC and I think it's Clemson with 2. So when you got that type of company, this is what I'm pretty sure Clemson feel the same way. Clemson feels they beat Alabama in the championship game. So why wouldn't you feel like I bet people think that Clemson had a bad season. They only got 2 losses. They 10-2.
Folks, welcome to the TD Report. What you just got right there is our man Jody Coleman, the Ohio State Buckeye out in the Midwest.
There you go.
We got That's my man Dev, POV. Between the both of these two dudes, 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, 4. None of them going to the playoffs. And they got all those 4 and 5 stars. And none of them going to the playoffs.
Hey, Dev, you want him or you want me to get him? You want me to get him? You want to get him?
Nah, man.
Y'all come get it all y'all want.
You know me, man. I done seen enough winning, man. I'm good. I'm good.
Now they're at a buffet. They finished the winning. and now they're at a buffet.
We'll be back, man. I mean, we'll be back. We had 2 losses by 4 points in 2 of the most hostile environments in college football. I ain't mad. At some point, Tennessee was going to beat us. It's been 15 years. At some point, LSU was going to beat us. It was like a 9-game winning streak, like Ohio State, Michigan. At some point, the other team is going to have some success. It happens.
Hey, can I say something real quick? Isn't it amazing how all of a sudden Ohio State and Alabama, all of them having what they call mediocre years, which us in Virginia Tech would take all day, when the NIL started to play? Isn't it amazing, folks? It's amazing how that NIL is kind of working.
You know what?
Seeing the transfer portal and the NIL. See, folks, what they've done to college sports is the best thing ever, because they're going to get rid of dynasties, because now it's an equal and level playing field. And what we're going to get is better prepared athletes, because they're going to stay in school now. Because now they don't have to fight like me and my buddies at Virginia Tech to scrounge up to get a damn dollar cheeseburger from Wendy's while they're making millions of dollars across the street. We joke and we play because, you know, these guys love their teams. This is the best thing for our college athletes. We love all y'all. We're going to talk trash on here, but we love y'all. We think that this is the best for your families. This is the best for you. Now, what you do with this opportunity to make the connections from an Ohio State, from an Alabama, for the rest of your life, those 4 years equal 40 years to me when you're making these type of decisions, you know? So I love it, fellas. I hope the playoffs go without either one of your teams in it, because we need to see some new blood. What you think, Jody?
You know what? Ohio State don't deserve to be there. I mean, me and Dev talked off camera, and he was right. You know, a lot of times Dev is right when he talks to me. Of course, I'm gonna be hard headed. Tony, you be right, and I'm gonna be hard headed because that's just how I am. And I'm very combative. But they don't deserve to play. I mean, even if they would have beat Michigan, I still was kind of shaky because I think Alabama would have beat a hole in them. I mean, not Alabama and Georgia would have smacked the floor with Ohio State. And to lose to your rival, one thing I don't like about losing to that school up north is they acting like they just won the championship. They planted the flag. See, this is where the disrespect come in at. Now I understand Ryan Day said some stuff, but we done won very, very, very classy over the years. Now I don't know what Ryan Day doing, but even with the Urban Meyers and especially with Tressel, we always won with class. We never went up there and planted no flag. But it's like, team, this is why I know we're on the level. We're not on the level of Alabama. We're a little bit below y'all. We definitely below y'all. I think it's Alabama than everybody else still. But Have you ever seen Ohio State go and win against Clemson and plant a flag, even though Clemson smacked us in the mouth? We beat Alabama a few years ago. Did we go plant a flag after we got smacked in the mouth so many times by the SEC? No, but every time when Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield, they planted a flag in our field after we smacked them the year before. They planted a flag. Now Michigan planted the flag. Now we got a problem because now it's disrespect.
What you think, Dev? Talk to me.
I agree with Jody. I mean, my big thing is Ohio State. I went to see them. Me and Tony was at the Ohio State Maryland game, and we didn't see each other, but we saw live. There's some real holes in that secondary, and the reason why Maryland didn't win is just Maryland just didn't have the beef up front when the game got tight. Mm-hmm. And like I stated with Maryland, everything had to be perfect. When they got the block punt, got a short field, that kind of stuff can't happen. Maryland's not good enough to overcome that kind of stuff. So Ohio State's a very good football team. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Very good football team. But again, they've got holes. And the holes have been shown between them and Alabama. They have leaky holes this year. Holes that you don't usually see in them two programs. Clemson's another one. Like Georgia has holes, but Georgia's holes are able to be covered up because let's just face it. Let's just say it right here on camera. Right now, Kirby Smart's the best coach in college football. You can. I don't care what anyone. He does a great job. He does not just have talent. The scheme that he runs, he loses an all-time great defense, and they really don't miss a beat on that side of the ball. Right. He takes a guy like Stetson Bennett, who's been there 3 times, and on the 3rd try, he finally gets it done. And they may go back-to-back. They may be the first team in college football playoff history to win back-to-back titles. I mean, you got to look at it. He's built that. He came from Alabama. He took everything Nick taught him, and he's using it against Nick. And had he not got stupid in 2017, he'd be working on a 3rd title. He'd be working better that night too. He was better that night. Tua saved them. He was better. He made the Cardinals sin of not preparing for the backup. Had he prepared for him, Alabama don't beat them that night either. They don't.
Hey folks, while you talked about that game, I find the small stuff. Do you realize? I'm gonna use this as an example. The biggest accident that ever happened in the sea was the Titanic. Do you guys realize that captain had more hours than every captain combined? He had more experience than every captain combined. Now, let me bring you to the Alabama and Georgia championship game. And this is for you young athletes. The guy who was sitting on the hash for Georgia, he was the all-time leader in interceptions in Georgia history. He was a senior. His mind was, I'm going to show this freshman something, and he's going to make a mistake and throw the ball where I want him to throw the ball. But what the freshman did was look, and he caught him out the corner of his eye, and he knew where he was going. And he knew that his experience would work against him, just like his experience worked against him in the Titanic when they said it was an iceberg. And damn if it didn't. And Loxley got that play written up, and you can see the safety is showing you a 3 look instead of sitting his ass on the damn hash where he should have been, which Tua would have never thrown the ball. Exactly. Folks, because somebody's a freshman or because somebody is a rookie, don't underestimate them. Old folks like me and Dave, we considered OGs. Y'all better listen to these young dudes in their early 40s because they got something. Just because they're not as old as us don't mean that they're not as wise as us. And that right there, folks, is sports. Just because a person is young don't mean that they don't know what you think they don't know.
Tony, you brought up everybody. And by the way, thanks sorry for being late, guys. Great show so far. Listen, you guys have all talked about something that's really interesting that we don't talk about a lot in athletes: pride. And sometimes pride can be your worst enemy, and sometimes it can be the thing that carries you through tough times, right? We're talking about some Big Ten football and some SEC football. For my money, that's where the best football in the country is played, those two leagues. And I'm going to give credit to the Big Ten right here, right now. They listened. Their coaches listened. The last 15 years, all you've heard about is Big Ten schools can't hang with SEC schools. Too much speed, too much skill. They've got edge rushers. They've got this, they've got that. I've seen some damn good wide receivers, especially some guys in the slot coming out of some Big Ten schools, and sometimes out of places you wouldn't expect, out of places like Purdue. Who would have thought? Okay, and we got to give Cody, our buddy Cody, a shout out. He's been on Rondale Moore for years about how good this kid was and how he would be a solid pro. So far, so good. But in college, you could put his tape, you could put his hype tape, Dev, up against almost anybody. The only thing is, if he had gone to Ohio State, he would be a household name. If he had gone to Penn State, everyone would know who he is. If he went to Georgia, if he went to Alabama, hell, if he went to Florida, everyone would know who this kid is. But Rondale Moore went to Purdue and played some damn good football there. What I've loved about what the Big Ten has done over the past 5 years is they may not have gotten better at the very, very tippy top to where they can definitely win a championship every year, in the playoff. But what they have done is teams like Iowa and Purdue and have upped their level just enough to get themselves to Big Ten championship games. And that's what you kind of need. It can't always be Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. And shout out to Michigan. This is a school where people said that Jim Harbaugh would never get this done, right?
He can flat coach.
Hey, Devin, he was going to be.
He can flat coach, man. He can flat coach this game. People need to stop acting like that.
It's in his blood.
That dude,
it's in his blood.
He went to the Niners. We weren't talking about the Niners 3 straight years there in the NFC Championship. He made Alex Smith look serviceable. He didn't look like that.
Hey,
people don't talk about that, man. He can flat coach this game, man. He can coach.
He went to Stanford.
He can coach, man.
He took a Pac-10 job at Stanford and drove Pete Carroll. He drove Pete Carroll crazy. And Pete Carroll's a maniac.
He did. Okay, he beat Pete Carroll when they were dominating twice at the Coliseum.
I would say no other coach made Pete Carroll more uncomfortable than Jim Harbaugh.
Him and Jeff Tedford at Cal with Aaron Rodgers.
Jeff Tedford. Because Jeff Tedford, he always had the quarterback. Yes. He always had the offense.
He would have Jackson. He had Deshaun Jackson. He had a beast mode. Mm-hmm. He had all them guys. He had pieces. He had pieces.
That's a good point. He had pieces.
Made him uncomfortable.
Who's that?
Mac Brown.
Mac Brown wasn't in the Pac-10. Mac Brown wasn't in the Pac-10, but I get it. Yeah. Now listen, that was another one when I talked from the beginning when I came on about pride. Okay, if Pete Carroll isn't a prideful bastard, they get that first down and that national championship is over. Okay, he made a mistake there. How do you not have your best guy? That your short yardage guy in that situation.
Wait
a minute. It's safe to say that call that Pete Carroll made in the national championship game is maybe the reason he didn't run the same ham and cheese on the goal line in the Super Bowl.
Yep. 2 calls.
Two calls. You have to understand.
National championship.
You have to understand. He heard about that call forever because everybody knew who was getting the ball when White came in the game. Okay, remember they didn't have a scat back in Seattle. He didn't have a fast back, so they knew that beast mode was getting the ball. Did you see Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick did one of the smartest coaching moves ever. He didn't call timeout. He brought in his goal line D, and in the pros. Dev can tell you, they're yelling to you, goal line D coming in. And when they're yelling you goal line D, you know that it's man-to-man on these outside because they got goal line D in. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make a call that they didn't never think I was going to make. That national championship call is still in my head of running that ball to Lindell White. And I'm going to fool their ass this time. But what Bill Belichick knew is that you were going to make that move because he playing chess. And that's why he had your boy push up on him and come underneath. See,
but did y'all see that no one talks about the Hightower tackle before? Because that's a tackle that go down in history because he tackled Beast Mode with one arm being pushed down by a lineman. If he doesn't tackle him, he runs it right in. But another thing, Matt Patricia on a show right after the Super Bowl that time, he mentioned how he was hoping to end practice, but Belichick made them go over that play 35 minutes extra. He made the defense go through that scenario with Brandon Browner and Malcolm Butler being able to help each other on the pick, but using Browner's physicality to help Butler undercut the route. Because without a big body like Browner, that gets completed. Browner being 6'3", 210 pounds was a big part of the reason why that didn't work.
Hey, Dave, can I ask you something? Where did Browner play the previous 4 or 5 years?
Seattle.
Don't you think he's seen that play a million times in practice?
Definitely.
Oh, I know he's seen it.
Definitely.
So that right there worked. That right there worked for them. But then they always want to say the Patriots cheat. Dude,
they do.
In the NFL,
they do cheat.
They know what you are running.
They still
Every team knows what you are running. It's whether you can execute it.
Everybody
Bill Belichick is a great coach. He's a great coach, but he's an even better coach when he knows what you're gonna run.
Hold on.
He's an even better. Hey, listen, go ahead, Jody, because we got a lot tonight. We got a lot.
This is my problem. If you get we all done had girlfriends if we've been married. If out of your marriage, out of 6 of your, or 7, I'm gonna say 6, 4 of them, 40 years you were cheating, but you didn't get caught. Are you a great husband?
No.
So how are you a great coach if you got caught 4 out of 6 of your championships? It wasn't alleged. Tom Brady got suspended after one of the years. The other ones, Mangini ain't coached since he told on the Patriots.
He sure hasn't. Is he even alive? Did they off him?
Hey, he might be.
He's at the bottom of a lake somewhere.
No, he works on CBS. He's a CBS guy.
I'm not going.
He does CBS pregame.
Listen, we on the TD report, and I'm gonna keep it all the way real. You can't take away the championship because it's hanging up. I can't take nobody's rings away. But why, when you all playing professional sports and everything is equal, if you got an added advantage, whether it's a soft football, whatever the advantage is, and I find out I'm a competitor. If I find out you cheated, I want to fight you. Because you got to beat me one-on-one. If I find out your player's on steroids, if I find out you got a deflated football, if I find out you up here stealing plays. They got caught stealing plays against the Bengals when the Bengals, before they got Joe Burrow.
Jody, what you say, steroids?
Yeah.
So if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, then you need to go back in the 70s and take away all the Steelers championships. Because every last one of them was on steroids.
You don't
wait
say.
a minute. So is Lyle Alzado.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Steroid.
So I mean, dog, you doing whatever it takes when you're on that level to win.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
It's a matter if you get caught or not. And if you get caught, I mean, I just look at it like this. Belichick, yeah, he did it. It is what it is. But I'm not going to take away from his coaching genius. I'm just not. The guy's arguably the greatest defensive mind we've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm taking it away because without Tom Brady, he's 10 games under 500. So no, man, I'm not buying it. I get it. Win without Tom Brady. No, he's not great.
But it takes a great coach and quarterback. It's not just the coach. The coach, it's a 2-part thing. I don't know too many great coaches. You got to have those 2 guys on the same page. Great quarterbacks. A lot of coaches have great success without great quarterbacks. Joe Gibbs is an anomaly because Joe Gibbs also had 2 strike seasons, and I'm a huge Redskins fan. 2 seasons with strike seasons. I'm not taking those from them, but if you're going to put an asterisk on something,
that's even harder. They had 2 strike seasons, and Washington's, let's call it what it is, Washington's scabs were better than everybody else's scabs.
So that means management and coaching was better.
Correct. If you've got to
Management
win
and
in a strike shortened season, what Joe Gibbs was able to do on a short, tight time window and get his team playing championship football, that's one of the most underrated, underappreciated
You gotta give it to
coaching
him.
jobs.
He's
Because
a top 5
it's
coach
really-
to me ever. I don't care what no one says.
in my
Top 5
opinion,
all time.
you give Joe Gibbs 16 weeks and one healthy quarterback. He's got to keep his quarterback healthy. But if he can keep his quarterback healthy, he's a MF in the
He
playoffs.
started out 0-5, and I remember Jack Ken Cook said, "What did I hire you for?" He ended up going 8-3. And
He went
he told
8-3.
him that won't happen again. And after that, they win the Super Bowl the next year, I believe.
And,
Yeah,
and happy birthday, Joe Jackson Gibbs. It was just his birthday, I think, 2 days ago.
Yes, sir.
So-
Great.
Everybody
man,
thought-
great man.
Nobody thought that he could bring that Air Coryell offense and make it work in the NFC East. And damn it, he made it work.
He
It was a different
He
version.
created the H-back position. He created the H-back for Lawrence Taylor. He couldn't block him. He said, "I got to get extra help." And it still
Adapter
didn't
guy.
completely stop him, but it did contain him enough, because without that, as great as Jacoby was, he was whipping Jacoby ass.
Hey,
He was whipping his
everybody
ass.
need-
I mean,
hey,
that's what he
listen.
did.
And Joe Jacoby was a generational. He was
Yes.
not just a generational talent. He was a transitional player in NFL history.
Yes.
You know, the whole idea of that left tackle being that type of guy just wasn't done. It was, let's be honest, it was usually a fat guy. Joe Jacoby was not fat. Joe
Doc
Jacoby
Walker
played
said he's the strongest guy he ever went against in his life. He said, we're talking 6'7", 330, and could move.
and
He
played
said he had
basketball in
He
college.
said he had vice grips. He had vice grips. He'd get his hands on you. There was no getting away. That's what he said. You know?
Y'all leave Jody alone. He's still hurt from Belichick being there, and his
Joe.
team coming to Baltimore.
Hold on. I'm gonna say this too.
Oh,
we
man.
talk about coaches that can't win it with they need a quarterback to win it. So why Bill Parcells got 2 championships with 2 different quarterbacks at the helm?
He had Lawrence Taylor.
I get it, but
he had Lawrence Taylor, man.
the whole thing is you got to draft. You can't punish somebody for actually drafting correctly.
Who was the defensive coordinator?
It was
Bill
Bill
Belichick.
Belichick.
Okay, so
Was he the head coach?
So
Was he the head coach?
Jody,
Was he
my
the head
buddy
coach?
Roger Brown played on that team, and I've told you the story. I was so hyped to meet Bill Parcells when I got to New York for the New York-Detroit game. I never forget, November of 1990. I was like, "Where's Bill Parcells?" He said, "You don't want to meet Parcells. You want to meet my defensive coordinator." I said, "Why?" He said, "He is the man. He's the one who runs everything on defense. Everything that you see, he runs it. He's the only one who can control Lawrence Taylor. So when Lawrence Taylor get off, they call Bill Belichick to go do, and Bill Belichick will come in and make sure. And Lawrence Taylor will be
I heard that story.
You're right.
I heard Parcells
That's
say
respect.
that. I heard
respect.
Parcells say that when they had that Bill and Bill thing. I heard Parcells say that a few times. He said I pretty much gave that side of the ball to Bill, and the offense I dabbled in that more so than the defense. Even though I was a defensive guy, I didn't have to worry about that side of the ball because I had Belichick, I had Lawrence Taylor, I had Harry Carson, I had Gary Reasons, I had Jim Burt, I had Leonard Marshall. I didn't have to worry about that side of the football. I just didn't. Pepper Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean-
he had all them guys, man. You know.
Listen,
but
that
that's-
NFC. Go ahead, Jody.
No, I was just gonna say we were talking about Raheem Morris and how he don't get the credit as a defensive coordinator because he had Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, and Aaron Donald. So what's the difference between Raheem Morris having those guys and Bill Belichick having 2 Hall of Famers on his defense? Harry Carson's a Hall of Famer, 9-time Pro Bowler. You got Lawrence Taylor, the best of all time. You have a guy that probably should have been in the Hall of Fame, or potentially Carl Banks. We forgot about Carl Banks. We got Pepper Johnson. You know, we got Everson Walls, who should be in the Hall of Fame. And then Bill Belichick still gets credit for having an outstanding defense, but we don't give Raheem Morris an opportunity.
You know why? You know why you give him credit?
Good point.
Because first of all, he played a defense where he allowed Lawrence Taylor to do what he did. Most defensive coordinators wouldn't have. Oh no, you got to play by the book.
They're control freaks. They're control freaks.
He let him freelance.
He allowed him to freelance.
Freelance.
And guess who else allowed another player to freelance? The guy in Pittsburgh. He allowed who I call probably the second best defensive all-around player in Polamalu. They didn't know where Polamalu was. He will tell you, we don't know where Polamalu is going to be. So if the defensive coordinator don't know where he is, what do you think the offensive coordinator is doing?
So, Dick LeBeau is beloved for being that coordinator for so long, but you've got to look at it like this, Tony. Polamalu was always where the football was. He was always in the right spot. It didn't matter where he lined up. By the time that ball was snapped, once it got past the line of scrimmage, Polamalu was either going to be there when the football came down, or the dude that was about to catch the ball was going to get laid out.
Yeah.
Okay? That dude was coming from all over the place, Tony.
So David and Jody and Dev, that is what you call coaching. That is what you allowing your athletes to be who they are. Because, see, sometimes, Jody, we get people in the box, like kind of like they're doing now in the NFL. We try to put you in the box and say, well, you got to win like this and you got to win like that. No. You need to win what's the best way based upon the talent and based upon your skill set. That is the new wave of coaching.
Hey, Tony, have we talked about the Washington Commanders yet?
No,
we should talk about them.
Go
Can I
ahead.
get one more point real quick? Also, I'm going to say this about Belichick. You're never going to find a coordinator that finds these late round corners and they become Hall of Fame or all pro kind of guys. Look at
another one.
Samuel. Look at this kid. Look at J.C. Jackson. Now, he's hurt. We don't know if he's ever going to return, but the injuries are the reason why he's struggling. That kid was dynamite. Yeah, he's a Jesse now, but the injuries are a problem. Before the injuries, that guy, don't forget, he was undrafted, man.
Calling all cars.
And then you got this kid named Jonathan Jones and Jack Jones.
Jack Jones.
Jack Jones, and then Jonathan Jones is the guy from last year on the other side. Them guys
That's right.
These are guys that no one talked about coming to the league. And this guy finds them, puts them in the scheme, and they produce at a high level. That's great. That's great coordinator work, man. That's great.
You can build off
Seattle,
of that.
though. Seattle has done it too.
Seattle's done it,
yep.
But Seattle did. Richard Sherman, we kind of knew he would be a good player. Earl Thomas was a high pick.
Earl Thomas was a high pick.
But Earl Thomas was a high pick.
No,
and so was Cam
Richard Sherman
Chancellor.
was the 5th rounder.
But Richard Sherman is one guy. We're talking about all these guys. There was nobody talking about Asante Samuel. There was nobody talking about the guys like J.C. Jackson. Me and Tony and Dave live in Maryland. We didn't talk about him in Maryland much. We just didn't.
I didn't
The
know
guy goes there and he becomes all pro. Leads the league in picks the last 3 years. You know?
Asante Samuel Jr. got more pub than his dad did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And Belichick's a great man. Belichick's all-time great, man. He's just a great guy. He's great.
Jody, let it go, dog. They stole y'all Super Bowl. When you come to Baltimore, we're gonna go downtown Baltimore, and I'm gonna hug you, and we're
gonna go hug in front of Raven Stadium. Yeah, man.
In front of Raven Stadium and say he forgive. Because
listen, that's all good, but I just keep it real, man. Like sometimes we got to look at it from a different lens. You know, sometimes we give a lot of credit. I mean, he got his 6 championships. You can't take him away. But if he was any other coach that didn't have Tom Brady, I mean, what would he be? I mean, look at all these other coaches, man.
But he drafted Brady at the 6th round. He drafted Brady in the 6th round. Nobody thought Brady be this good. He took a chance and it just paid off.
Exactly.
Give him credit.
That was a flyer.
Give him
He
credit.
drafted Brady 6th round. What would Tom Landry have been without Roger Staubach? What would Chuck Noll have been without Terry Bradshaw?
He did have Steve DeBerg.
The only coach in history that can say that they didn't rely on their quarterback was Joe Gibbs.
And Bill Parcells.
To win it with 3.
And Bill Parcells.
Phil Simms wasn't a bum, though. He was good.
But he won a championship with Bill. He won one with Jeff Hostetler.
Jeff Hostetler. Jeff Hostetler won.
He came in late in the year.
Until December 10th.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
He got the job.
That's why everybody saying Carson Wentz wasn't the reason why they got there before Nick Foles came in. Carson Wentz was the MVP that year. As much as I don't like the guy.
They 11-1.
They were 11-1 when he got hurt.
11-2, something like that.
He was the MVP that year. He was going to be the MVP easily.
And sadly, Wentz has never been the same since that.
No,
injury.
he's not. Never been.
Never.
No. Never.
And honestly, he used to give the NFC East problems.
Nightmare.
Not
Especially,
us.
especially the Washington and Dallas gave them the blues, buddy.
He didn't give Dallas the blues. Dak is 7-3 against them.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. He didn't
Okay.
give us the blues. Go pull it up.
He gave
17
Washington
they
the
did.
blues. I remember that.
15 they got swept. 18 they got swept. 19 we split. Man, you crazy. He didn't give us no blues. You got the,
Well,
the game twisted.
let's talk about what happened this weekend, guys. And we're going to get to the Washington Commanders. Hey, listen, I don't care what league you're in. You win 6 out of your last 7. You playing you some football. I don't care. I don't care if you playing Little Sisters of the Poor, the Blind JV Squad.
You
I
said Little
don't
Sisters
care
of the
who you
Poor.
playing. In this league that we're talking about, the National Football League, you win 6 out of 7. Somebody got to be doing something right. I'll give them their credit to go from what was it, Jody? 1-4 to 7-5, and you're the 7th seed in the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, they'd be heading to Minnesota to play the Vikings in Minnesota, and they almost beat the Vikings here.
Very winnable game.
Before we get to going, y'all looked at me like I had 3 heads a whole month ago when I said the entire NFC East is going to make the playoffs and they're going to be in the Final Four. I looked like I had 3-4 heads, didn't I?
I thought you were crazy.
I told y'all this is what's going to happen. And if that happens, when it happens, the Cowboys will be in the Super Bowl. If the 49ers get in, the Cowboys will not be in the Super Bowl if they have to play the 49ers.
Yeah,
That
they
is
don't want to see
the
that.
only team in the NFC who can beat Dallas.
Philly,
But if the Final Four is the NFC East,
Philly.
it's over. Philly,
I think Philly.
with
I
that,
think San
Philly
Francisco
gonna
is the worst matchup for Dallas. I don't think any other matchup in the NFC is a problem for Dallas. Now, if you tell me that Philadelphia outplays Dallas, okay, I'll buy that. But I'm not going to buy into the fact that Philadelphia is that much better. And don't get me wrong, they got a gaudy 10-1 record right now. They're literally looking like they're going to run away.
And they got a whole lot of holes on that defense. A whole lot of holes. They can be
Mhm.
had in so many ways on that side of the football. There's a lot of holes on that defense.
Get in there,
Holes
Jody.
everywhere.
Get in
Nobody wants to hear this, but you know who else will give Dallas a problem? Nobody wants to hear this, but Tampa Bay will give them a problem. Mark my word. Okay.
It's Tom Brady. It's no. I mean, give it what it's got.
They
They
beat us the first
lost
game.
to them twice in a
No.
row. But Tom Brady cannot be discounted in a playoff game, and he'll be getting a playoff game at home if the seeds end up and stay the same way they are. The matchup would be Dallas at Tampa Bay in that first round.
So Jody, what you saw yesterday in Tampa Bay, that team cannot beat Dallas.
They can't score, man.
They
They
can't.
can't score. And then they can't protect him. That's the problem. They can't protect him. He's under siege the whole game.
I'm actually praying that
That's
we
a
get
bad
Tampa in
matchup
that.
right now with that offensive line. That offensive line is
It's a shambles.
It's in shambles, man. It
How
is.
many, how many
This is
times
not the
have we
same
bet
team.
against Tom Brady?
I ain't
How
betting
many
against
times
him.
we beating them?
I ain't
I'm
betting
not going to
against
bet
him.
against them,
I ain't
but this
betting
is
against
not the same. This
Dallas
is not
has
the
never
same
beaten
Tampa Bay
Tom
team.
Brady.
This is not the same Tampa Bay team that Dallas played 2 years ago on opening night. It's not the same.
Or the team they played opening night this year. No, it's
Hey,
not.
That's
We
how
never
much.
beat
That's
them.
that's how quick your life can change in the NFL. So good point, Devin. We're talking about what the makeup of that Tampa Bay offense was, specifically that interior line, that offensive line.
Three
If you look
Pro
at it
Bowlers. Yeah, three
now
Pro
and
Bowlers.
then,
Yep.
it ain't the same. I'll give you
And
another
Wirfs got
thing.
hurt. And Wirfs got hurt yesterday. He's out now. He
So
got hurt. So their
6
offensive
weeks
line
ago,
is in shambles, man.
6 weeks ago, we were talking about a fire sale in DC and possibly getting rid of a head coach and a defensive coordinator. They were trying to, and the O coordinator. They were trying to run all 3 of them jokers out of here. And Rivera 6 weeks ago. Now,
Yep.
at this point, someone's about to get extended.
It's
Good.
amazing when you take Carson Wentz out the lineup, you start winning.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I said it, and I said it before when they were losing. I
You
said
did
Carson
say
Wentz is the reason why.
We should have made him the GM.
He did say it.
Yeah.
He did say it.
I never wanted them. I always said that was $28 million wasted.
Hey,
You didn't have to. You didn't have to spend that.
You
You left
realize,
$38 million the last 2 years. $38 million on guys you didn't need.
as
You
anemic
didn't
as
need
as anemic as the Washington offense has been under Taylor Heineke, and by the way, I'm not dissing Taylor Heineke. I'm just giving you the numbers. They
Wentz
average something
is
like
the
16
number
points,
one.
16 points or 17 points a game. Hold on, Tony. They're averaging 16 or 17 points a game, and they've won 6 out of 7. You know what that sounds like? That
Defense.
sounds like a 1986, 1985 NFC East team. That's what it sounds like. Defense, don't do dumb stuff on offense. Don't fumble the ball. Don't throw it away. And make
Number
the
one
other guy
turnover
throw it
ratio
to
in
you.
the NFL. Number
What's
one
that?
turnover ratio in the top turnover ratio in the NFL right now. Washington, number 1 in the league.
I remember somebody at lunch, not any of you guys, but somebody at lunch said, the turnover differential doesn't mean anything.
Shit.
I said, are you crazy? It's rare when you see a team win the turnover battle and lose. That's rare. Okay.
They are
but
finally using their front 4. That D tackle tandem is the best in the league. I don't care what anyone says.
up the A gap, you
Them
ain't.
two are together.
Can I bring you light on
huge.
something?
Go ahead.
We're talking about Jody coming here in another month.
Yes.
But guess what? When Jody comes here in another month, that game is going to mean a whole lot for both teams.
It will.
It might.
Find
It
out
will.
if the way Cleveland runs the ball with Deshaun Watson, because hello, folks, as of 30 minutes ago, Deshaun Watson is eligible.
He in the building.
And you know what? Ain't nobody ran away in the AFC yet.
Not yet.
So guess what? Everybody's within shooting distance now, buddy. With 7 games to go.
Well, this is
six.
5
6.
and 6 for 5 and 6 games. 5 games.
This is what we've been talking about. This is what Jody said at the very beginning of the year. Was what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to kind of hang on, right, and not just give it all away and then make a run at the end of the year. Now, I will say this, Jody. How many times y'all going to hand off to Nick Chubb the rest of the way? Is it going to be 20 to 25 times?
Now,
what's the magic number?
I'm glad you said that. The magic number is at least 22 rushes. They're 4-0 when he touches the ball 20 plus times. We're 0-7 when he touches the ball below 20 times. It's mathematically just makes sense to give that man the ball. But what did I always say since I met you guys? Dev, Tony, Dave, if you can run the football and stop the run, I don't care about all these supposed to be geniuses running all this high power, throw the ball all over the doggone place. Guess where it ended up being? And the Washington Commanders ran the ball 49 times against the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't get a lot of yards. They only averaged like 3.4 yards a carry, but it wore that defense down.
Sure
they were
did.
able to expose that defense because they had two. Like I said, Dev, you weren't on here last week. I played strong safety. I played linebacker in high school. And I got tired of tackling this running back from Dunbar. I was tired of tackling him because fourth quarter, that boy was 230 pounds. First of all, I don't think he was old enough to be playing. I think he should have been in the pros. But anyway, I was tired of tackling them. I was tired. I like to hit. But if this man done carried the ball 37 times, I'm tired of tackling him.
Mm-hmm. Comes a business decision after that. Yeah.
Dad, I'm giving the one-arm tackle. I'm giving the whip.
Tired. Tired, man.
Hey, Tony, I'm giving the whip. Dave, I'm like, you know what? I'm acting like I hurt my leg because I'm tired of tackling. And that's what the Commanders are doing. Shout out to Brian Robertson. That young man came back, and that young man is a bruiser out of Alabama, Dave. He's a bruiser, and he's giving them. And then you got the scat back, and they're using Antonio Gibson the correct way. They're getting the ball in the Samuel's hands. Terry McLaurin is a top 10 receiver again. He wasn't a top 10 receiver with Carson Wentz.
That's a problem.
Brian Robinson did the smartest thing. He stayed that 5th year at Alabama. He didn't run. He was behind Damian Harris, Najee Harris, and Josh Jacobs. And when they left, Saban said, "There's no need for you to leave. You can stay here another year. You're gonna be the bell cow." He goes back. And that turns into him because I don't know if he would have gotten drafted had he not gone back. I don't know because he hadn't proven it much. He hadn't really shown outside of short yardage runs that he could carry the load. We didn't know what he could really do until he went back that last year. And the game that made him a high pick was that Cincinnati playoff game where he carried like 30 times for 250 yards.
Yeah,
that game showed everyone
that
he's going to run it down your throat. And I think that final year, he said he was really debating on coming out with Najee Harris, and Nick Saban said, no, stay here. We stay here. Yeah, this is your time. And he stayed.
There's no better place for him in the league than right here in Washington because old school Washington fans understand the hype and the reality behind that Riggo drill, where they would just pound John Riggins at you.
Oh yeah.
You know, the fourth quarter, you knew what was coming. Okay. And basically, they were just taking your heart. And they did that so often, and there was nothing you could do to stop it. This is the best place for that young man. He is a throwback. I'll say that. He's a throwback. And I like the way he plays. I like the way he plays football.
Hey, I have to admit something to you guys. I deal with history, and I think it repeats itself a bunch. Well, in 72, 73, Dallas lost the NFC Championship to Washington. In 82, 83, we lost the NFC Championship to Washington. In 92 and 93, Washington had an unfortunate interception, 90 yards, go against them, or else we would have been playing the NFC Championship against them in Dallas.
That was Michael Carter in San Francisco, wasn't it?
Yep. Now
Where
come here.
They hit Mark Rippon on the arm and the ball fell in his hands.
The ball flooded up in the air. Yeah.
I remember that.
22, 23.
Yep.
I want Washington in the NFC Championship game. I want payback because we owe them. And I want them to go into San Francisco. I want them to go into Philly. And then when they come to Dallas, it will be the biggest game, not on the field, but on social media.
It'll go crazy.
And even though I'm a Cowboy fan, I will be the only one in town that will be in a win-win scenario. Because if Washington win, we win. Because we're going to be out at the Super Bowl. If Dallas win, you know I win too. But that is the NFC Championship game I want. I am cheering for these Washington Commanders, football team, Redskins, whatever hell you want to call them. I am a fan every week. I love the owner. Good job, Daniel Snyder. Keep bringing up the owner to Jerry Jones.
Yeah, he's trying to be funny, man. He being funny, man.
Dog.
Totally being funny, man.
What they are doing.
Funny, man. Beer man ain't good, man. We ain't going that far with no damn beer man that just had the helm, man. We ain't going that far with no beer man.
Hey, listen.
What beer man?
Listen,
man.
If you can't be with the one you love the one you with. Dance with the one that brung you.
But doesn't he scare you every weekday with some of those things?
He scares the crap out of me.
You see the one he threw yesterday when he was getting sacked and he threw it out to the side. I said, what the hell?
What was that?
Hey, what the shirt say? What the shirt say? Fuck it. Terry out there somewhere.
He said Terry down there somewhere.
I'm really starting to believe that the NFL has, like you said, history repeats itself.
It does.
I'm telling you, they got to get back these running backs. You got Josh Jacobs, who they didn't sign to his 5th-year extension. He's having a career year.
Yeah, he's special. He leads the league in rushing.
Yeah. The Raiders may not even keep him. He may now be going to another destination because they thought that the running back they're not expendable. We're not getting running backs in the top 10 and the top 15. You barely getting the running back in the first round. I don't think we didn't get a running back in the first round this year because the first running back off the board was Sprite Hall, and then it was Walker in the second round. So they like the running back position is further and further in the draft, and they're starting to be less and less expensive to get. So they letting these guys be expendable. But you go to your Derrick Henrys, you go to your Saquon Barkley, you go to your Nick Chubbs. Now you're Brian Robertson that you got in the 4th or 5th round.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Chiefs got a lot of money. The league better not let Jacobs go to Kansas City. They better not let Jacobs, because KC looking, Edward Tellez's contract is up. They're not gonna re-sign him. He's got 1 year left. It's not a lot of money. Pacheco was a 6th-round pick. Not a lot of money in him. They got a lot of other guys that are on little deals. They sitting there. They let Reek go. All that money just sitting there.
Andy
Josh
Reid has
Jacobs,
set it up.
I'm telling you, think about Josh Jacobs behind Patrick Mahomes. He doing this with Lord Hammer. I'm telling you, Andy Reid and the Chiefs with Eric Bieniemy coaching them running backs, it will not be an issue for them to bring that kid. I'm telling you, do not
you know
let
what,
them
Dad?
get Josh Jacobs, man.
You know what, Dan? If I'm another organization in the AFC, I'm just trying to get Eric Bieniemy away from Kansas City, just so he won't be on Kansas City.
I agree with that too.
You know what I mean? Just get him off of that, get him out of that organization and bring him in. And even if he only lasts 1 or 2 years, he's not with Kansas City.
Let's talk about this for a second, and let's be frank, okay? Why hasn't he been offered a job?
They say he's a bad interviewer. They always want to bring up his past. Like he does, like everybody doesn't have a past. He had the issue with the DUI back in the day, and think the cops got called on him 2 or 3 times in some other situations, but he never did jail time. But they love to go back and rehash his past, like with Deion and Prime Prep. As much as Colorado wants him, a lot of other schools have said, "Oh, Prime Prep didn't, what happened there?" And I'm like, how are you using Prime Prep, which was a good thing, and went under because the state funds, not because Deion and his boy did anything. The state stopped giving the funding. That's why it went under. But Prime Prep did a lot for a lot of guys. You look at Seen, the guy from Georgia that got drafted. He went to Prime Prep. Lewis Seen, the safety that won the chip last year. Emmanuel Mudiay, the former NBA guy. Prime Prep. So they did a good job. Look at Shedeur Sanders. He did good while he was there. So he went on to, the younger son played there. The one, Deion Sanders Jr., went to SMU after that. So don't tell me it didn't do good. And there's a lot of other guys from Prime Prep that have gone on to play in the league as well that they don't talk about or play at the D1 level or whatever. So the Eric Bieniemy thing is a little puzzling. I honestly think it's more so, I don't know. I don't know if they don't believe because he doesn't call plays that he can't do the job. I think that has a problem too for them because Andy Reid is the play caller, the final autonomy. He has final autonomy. But let Andy Reid tell it. Yeah, I call the plays, but that's something that Eric really don't want to do. But who puts the game plan together every week? It's really Eric. I just take the play sheet and call the play because I've been doing it so long. That's all it is. He said, honestly, Patrick Mahomes calls a lot of the plays too. So it's not just me. I give him 3 plays and he chooses what he wants to run, basically.
And it's all about concepts, right, Dev?
Yeah,
so
it's all about
we're
concepts.
Looking at game situations. All right, 3rd and 8, they're going to be playing us. They're playing the corners in the press coverage, and then everybody else is playing us straight up. What are we running here? You see what I'm saying? And there's concepts of plays that you're trying to run that will target that defense that they're in. Hey, listen, if we get a look at their top corner, I think we've got something with our best receiver on him. When he goes in motion, he's not being followed. We can get a better matchup.
Yep.
So we're gonna put our receiver in motion. Hey, look, he's gonna be on the field corner, so we know where the ball's going. I just don't understand what we're seeing here. We've got Byron Leftwich in Tampa, okay, who is working with Tom Brady, who is basically facilitating Tom Brady, is what he's doing. The 2 of them are the ones that are orchestrating that offense. It's not just Tom Brady, because who's going to set up the protections? Who's going to set up the reads? Who's going to set up the hot reads? Who's going to set up the alignments, the shifts, okay, the sight adjustments that the quarterback has to make? That's what has to be done. It's this communication between the quarterback and the coordinator, okay? That allows Todd to do what he does, okay? That allows Todd to do what he does, is having that offensive guy as your coordinator who was a professional quarterback, who was a very good college quarterback, who was a very good high school quarterback. Yep. And that's why I don't understand why a guy like a Byron Leftwich, who, by the way, this is my prayer. This is what I'm hoping for. If Byron Leftwich ended up coming back and ended up back in D.C. as a head coach, I might consider becoming a Commanders fan when the new ownership gets here.
Dave, can I interject for a moment?
Yes.
And I want to go back to what Dave said. Everybody wants to go about somebody's past when it comes to an African-American candidate. Everybody wants to go back. But nobody gave a doggone sorry about this, Dave. Mac Jones had 2 DUIs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nobody said a doggone word about him having 2 DUIs. Nobody said a word.
Yeah,
So,
too.
every offensive coordinator that's been under McVay, whether it be the offensive coordinator, whether it be the quarterback's coach, Zach Taylor, O'Connell, they all got head coaching gigs. But guess what? Raheem Morris, who has been a former head coach at one point in time, has not gotten a gig, and he has a Super Bowl championship under his belt. DeMeco Ryans has the #1 defense in the NFL right now in the San Francisco 49ers, and he's put together He's put together a great resume. That young man is not being sought after to get a head coaching job like he should.
I don't get it.
Eric Bieniemy.
See, no. I did write about DeMeco Ryans. He will have a job.
He's getting a job.
And actually, last year he would have gotten the Minnesota job. He pulled his name out the hat and decided to go back because he felt like he needed one more year with Kyle Shanahan. To be honest, that was his job before Kevin O'Connell's.
But let me ask you this, Dan. So I get what you're saying, and I read that piece. But what I have a problem with is he's not as sought after as some of these other quote unquote great minds.
His name should be on every announcer's lips.
Right, Brandon Staley.
What
has Brandon Staley done but put their team in jeopardy and coached against Kevin Stefanski? What did he do in Minnesota? Minnesota didn't win anything.
He made Kirk Cousins. He made what's the boy that took them to the NFC Championship game?
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum.
He made him look serviceable. That was enough for him.
But that's what I'm saying. The point I'm trying to make is it's a lot of people that are African American candidates that are making defenses look serviceable. They're like the Rams. If you go back, even with Aaron Donald, prior to that, they wasn't one of the top defenses in the league. If you go back just a couple of seasons when they just got Ramsey, they wasn't ripping the lead up.
I'm gonna say something that Tony says to me, and me and Tony talk all the time. Dave too, offline, and you too. It's an offensive league. They're going after the young offensive minds. They're not going after these defensive guys because it's a league that's prided on scoring points. The game is being officiated to help offenses. So if I'm looking to help offenses and I'm looking for offenses to be run right, I'm going to go get that young, bright offensive guy. And unfortunately, it's more of them being that are Caucasian than black. And I'm not giving them a pass, but they tend to get on the offensive side quicker than they do the defensive side.
Correct.
And in turn, it turns into quicker jobs for them. It's a proven fact. Offense sells. Defense wins championships. Offense sells.
And that's true. And that's why I believe the 2 candidates that I think will be a head coach before Eric Bieniemy is going to be Kyler Moore for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, he'll get a job.
It's going to be Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator for Buffalo.
In Buffalo, yeah.
Both of those guys will get a head coaching job before Eric Bieniemy.
And they'll be out of a job in 3 years.
Ken Dorsey, depending on and largely, guys, what it depends on is where you end up. I will say this: whoever ends up, if Houston ever decides that they're going to go in a different direction than Lovie Smith, whoever ends up getting that job, they won't be in that job after 3 years.
Well, they already got their guy. They already told him Josh McCown is their guy. Didn't they say that, Tony?
Yep.
They told Lovie when they hired him.
They said
Josh
it twice.
McCown was the guy they really wanted.
They said it twice.
They told Lovie, you can have it and you can keep the seat warm, but Josh McCown.
They said it twice.
They said it twice, man.
They gave Lovie Smith the job knowing that he was not going to be prosperous at that position. They knew they wanted to say, hey, we gave a black coach a chance. We gave a black coach a chance. He couldn't get it done, guys.
Hey, man, Pep Hamilton down there. They're going to be out of a job.
God bless. Man. And listen, hey, guys, God bless Lovie Smith. He has the worst front seven that may have ever been assembled. And we're talking about since the expansion Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah,
and you can't say that was a bad front seven because they had Leroy Selman. So
Hall of Famer.
They were already better. That front seven was already better than this front seven, and those guys lost all 16.
Yeah.
And look,
this is a terrible, terrible front seven.
It's a terrible team, Dave.
What Washington's offensive line did to that front seven.
Yeah, they mauled them.
If I did that to a dog in the street, I'd be in jail. That was terrible.
Watch what Cleveland do to him next week.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that game's in Houston, ain't it?
Yeah, and
that's gonna. I need to watch that. That's
gonna be interesting.
That's gonna get ugly.
They did that.
They knew what they were doing. They knew.
They did that on purpose.
That's
You know how many people gonna watch that game?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be the
Well,
biggest game of the week.
Tony,
Wait a minute.
they're gonna watch it on TV because in Houston they ain't gonna be in the stands.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It was 10
So do we-
people at that. It was 10 Houston fans at that Washington game. It was 10 of them. The rest of them were Redskins fans that came down there.
So we're talking about watching TV and games. Let's not forget, we've been on here Thanksgiving night. We didn't know, but the Cowboy-Giants game was the most viewed regular season game in the history of the NFL. Now, do you think they watched it because they wanted to see Daniel Jones? No, folks. They want to see the star. And pretty soon, we're going to have to bring in you the star. I'm going to get David Henderson on this show.
Tony.
I'm getting old Cowboys on this
Tony
show.
sound like
I
Michael
think
Irvin
more
right
people
now.
watch Dallas games. I think more
Sound like
people watch
Michael Irvin
Dallas
on
games to
ESPN
see
on my
Dallas
day.
lose.
He like.
Hey, Deb. Nobody looks better getting off the bus than Dallas. Nobody looks
No,
better
they
coming
look
out the
great.
tunnel
They look great. They look
than the
great.
Cowboys.
No,
Nobody.
they have beautiful stuff. I'm not even gonna knock them. They have beautiful everything. This stuff is
They got the cheerleaders. They got,
Yep.
they got the
It's
walk.
America when Dallas is winning. Let me enlighten the folks. 1978, Cowboys won the Super Bowl. They didn't get back. I had to hear the Redskins, Giants, and 49ers all these years. Folks, my last year of college, the Cowboys make the Super Bowl. And at that Super Bowl, I knew America was good. See that little thing right here? I knew America was good because at the halftime of the Super Bowl, Michael Jackson popped up out the stage and started doing it, and he stood there like this and just looked at it and said, "This is America, baby. It feels good." The Cowboys in the Super Bowl and Michael Jackson performing at halftime, that is the greatest shit that ever happened. January 31st, 1993.
I'm gonna say this, and I gotta go. We talk about Eric Bieniemy being a head coach. I don't want to hear nobody else's excuses. All 32 teams, I don't want to hear nobody excuses about a head coach when you give Jeff Saturday a coaching job that's never had any experience. I don't want to hear nobody. I don't care if Jeff Saturday take them to the Super Bowl. It's a procedure, and he jumped the line.
He did.
I don't care if you white or you black. I don't care if you're Hispanic or whatever your nationality is. He jumped the line, and that's a smack in the face to everybody. You can get mad. They can say, "Oh, the owners can hire who they want," and that's true. That is absolutely correct. But he jumped the line. It's a lot of sweat and tears going into coaching.
You're right.
Deb knows. Deb at the high school level, and I know how he done called me at 12:30, either after the game or preparing for a game, and telling me how hard it is to get that game plan together for his quarterback. So I can imagine at the pro level.
Oh, Jody, would you be mad if the Houston Texans saw our telecast and they wanted to hire us as management and pay us millions of dollars?
No, moving to Houston tomorrow.
Moving to
Houston tomorrow morning.
Hey, my house would have been on sale
I'm there,
yesterday.
baby.
My house would have been on sale yesterday.
Yep. Moving to Houston tomorrow morning at the Breakfast Club for breakfast on Wednesday.
Put that Texas hat on.
What you talking about, man?
Hey, Deb, I would live in my car. I would be like, "Hey, I'll see y'all there."
Yep, I'll see you there.
I do it.
Shoot, man, yeah. They stink, but hey, they are NFL franchise. That's indeed.
But the thing about it is, I'm not knocking Jeff Saturday. I'm mad because Jeff Saturday had an opportunity to come on the staff years prior, and he denied it when he wasn't.
And put in the work. He could have been put in the work and been able to take this job with pride. I see what you're saying.
Bill West has a thing. He says, should Lamar be benched or fined for his comments? His Twitter, folks, if y'all don't know,
I see.
I saw it.
For what he did. And this is the first time I've ever seen Lamar lose his cool.
Me too.
He went on Twitter, and I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he kind of told the person to eat some private parts that the male anatomy has.
He might get suspended for that.
Yeah. Hey, folks, when we talk about, listen, so we can get this straight. When you want to talk and you want to talk about African-American quarterbacks, one of the last African-American quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl was Russell Wilson. All four of us on here
Patrick Mahomes
dog Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson is playing like garbage. And
fan.
He's playing like garbage. But what you're not going to do is talk about this person here ain't worth this, because what they don't do in the NFL is start listing who you got with you. Now, Lamar Jackson don't have any of those other people that
none of that. No, he doesn't.
Right in out that joint, and he got a 40-year-old Deshaun Jackson out there running routes. So y'all acting like
it's a lot of pressure on him, man.
This dude
a lot of pressure every week.
Let's get it straight. The Ravens are 7-4. They've had 4 double-digit leads in the second half of games.
Yeah.
4 of them.
And they've had
lost them all.
Three of them have been 10 points or more in the fourth quarter, and they lost.
And they still number one in the division, though. They still lead the division.
Yeah, they lead the division. And that's because of him. That's because of him.
You know, I want to say this about Lamar. You know, as a professional, sometimes you got to put the Twitter down. You got to quit reading the comments.
Put it down.
Yep.
Walk away.
But we also got to understand Lamar Jackson is a human. He's been criticized since he was in high school about what he can't do. Every time that he performs to the highest level, they move the goalpost. He can't throw the ball. In college, he throws the ball. He's only a running quarterback. It's like you continue to move the goalpost, and at some point in time, that man human, and he gonna come at you. You know, people tired of being criticized because I never see the criticism for Justin Herbert. I never see the criticism.
You see what Emmanuel Otto called Justin Herbert?
What?
Social media.
A social media quarterback. I said, you know what, bro? He said he looks great. It's social media. He said you show all the clips of him. He said, but show him when the chips are really up, what he looks like.
Against a winning team.
Whoa.
So
Harrison.
Jody. So I think that the team, if we're going to be fair, I think the team should suspend them 2 games.
I would. During a playoff drive, I would do it.
They'll probably do 1 and fine them. They can't afford to do 2. They're not good enough to do 2.
I'm not gonna suspend Lamar Jackson for being human, because if that's the case, why aren't we suspending Aaron Rodgers for all the crap he done said?
He didn't lie and everything. Yeah, he didn't lie and everything.
Good point.
Yeah.
I am so done with the regular Raven fan because, see, I love Bill.
Tony, we're surrounded by him.
So we're going to call it like a spade. Bill West is an original Baltimorean, okay? He is original, real hard.
Colts. He was a Colts fan.
He's from Baltimore. And Bill West is about the players, okay? He's about that franchise. But his friends that are on his blog, he got some racist folks up on there, because those are the same people who wanted to get rid of Ray Lewis's statue. And I told them, and I'm going to be frank, I'm from D.C. Baltimore wasn't shit of a city until Ray Lewis stepped in there and made y'all a damn city. Y'all were a 2-bit, crab-ass, damn low-life ass city before Ray Lewis came. So let's be real about this. Y'all are a city because of Ray Lewis. But
hey guys, I gotta jump.
For a knee?
Tony, that's a premium rant. I gotta step off, guys. Go ahead and finish me up.
Hey,
I gotta
appreciate y'all. Come on, but I gotta jump. I gotta take care of this. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, hold on. One more thing to the other fellas. Go ahead, Dave. So that we cool. Tomorrow is the announcement of the 4 teams before the championship game. My prediction is TCU will win their championship. USC playing against a team they already lost to. Georgia and Michigan could lose and still be in it, to me.
I agree.
Georgia and Michigan could still lose and be in it. TCU and USC cannot lose because you got Ohio State there. And actually, you got Alabama there, still there. So, because of everything that happened.
My predictions, when it's all said and done, is going to be Georgia. You're not going to like it. It's going to be Michigan. It's going to be Ohio State, and it's going to be Alabama.
That's if TCU.
Listen.
And USC.
And that's what I'm saying.
TCU ain't losing to K-State.
Okay.
But not without Adrian Martinez, no.
And guess what? If Utah hadn't beat USC earlier,
where they got cheated,
I would give it to you.
Yeah.
I would give it to you.
My
They did.
My boy
So-
Tavion Thomas from Dayton, Ohio. He won't play. He hurt his leg. He's getting ready for the draft. He will not be playing. He's a kid right here from Dayton, Ohio, the running back
Well,
number
what
9
team?
for Utah. He won't be playing. Tavion Thomas.
Okay, so they done. They done. So, all right, fellas.
All
We're
right.
gonna get ready to go, baby. Peace
Peace.
out. Thank you guys for joining the TD Report. We'll see you. We will
Later,
see
man.
you guys on Thursday night to get ready for the championship games. Championship game
Peace.
is. See
All
you
right.
there. Make sure you
All right,
check
man.
POV Mason Sports, please. All right, folks.
Appreciate you. All right, man.
All right, bro.